Hey there, fellow authors. Today we're going to be talking about punctuation and italics for novels. As with every video in this series, all of these tips and tricks come straight from the Chicago Manual of Style, so with that, let's get on with it. So what is italicized? You're probably familiar with most of these. Titles, for instance, should always be italicized, but it's with the caveat, a shorter work should be in quotation marks. When it comes to vessels, whether it's a ship or a car, if it's a vessel, it should be italicized. If you have any emphasized words, it was really good or really bad, emphasize that with some italics. When it comes to scientific plant or animal names, the Felis catus left under the counter, you can see Felis catus is italicized and the rest is not. Lastly, we have words from other languages. So in this Italian book where we had a man who called out ciao bella, we can see ciao bella is italicized. The quotation marks surrounding it, though, are not. And this brings up an interesting point. What do we do with punctuation in and surrounding things that ought to be italicized? The main rule of thumb here is that the main and surrounding text dictates which font to use for the punctuation marks. And this will be easier to understand with some examples, so don't worry, I've got you covered. So in this example, we see the Help album got released long before the music video. Help, both the word and the punctuation that's connected to it, are italicized. That is part of the title. Everything else is part of the main text. So when we look at the anatomy of this, let's say help didn't have an exclamation point at the end. We wanted to add a comma. We were going to continue that sentence after a comma. Only the portion that is part of the title would be italicized. Everything else should be in a Roman font. So here we have an example. Can you solve for x, y, and z? The letters for this equation are italicized. Everything else, the commas and the question mark that follows, are part of the main text. They belong to the main text, so they are not italicized. You did not read the Chicago Manual of Style just for fun. We can see that not and fun are emphasis words, are italicized, as is the Chicago Manual of Style, but the quotation mark and the exclamation point are not. They belong to the main text, and you will get much better at seeing this over time. Amanita muscaria, that's our scientific term. We'll notice that the punctuation surrounding it is not italicized. That is because it would be the exact same whether the name was Amanita muscaria, Felis catus, or whatever it may be. The punctuation would still be there with or without the term that's inside of it. When it comes to the title, developmental editing, colon, a handbook for freelancers, authors, and publishers. We can see that colon and the commas are all part of the title, so they stay with the title. Everything else belongs to the main text. There are a few exceptions to this, so if there's a phrase that's in parentheses or brackets and it's on a line by itself, usually this is kept in the same font. So just imagine that this is between two paragraphs on a line all by itself. That would be the only other instance where you might rule it in that way. So for more tips and tricks from the Chicago Manual of Style, give us a like and check out our playlist. I've been Jeffers.